midget clowns. And saying things like, I know 100%. So you have this big phenomenon, right? Somebody in the beginning said flat Earth. And then a bunch of other people said, well, NASA is lying. NASA don't know what they're talking about. So, actually, what we've proven is that since NASA don't know, then neither do we. Because yes, we prove perspective, and we've formulated a theory based on limited observations. I'm a flat earther. That's what I call myself, flat earther. But here's the thing. Nobody has actually proven anything. They haven't proven anything. Right? People talk about the firmament like it's there, like they've seen it, like they've actually touched it. Right? I've touched water. I know the ocean's there. I live not too far from it. It's just down the road from me. I can see it right from my house. Also, when you're up so far and you're looking out at this vastness, there seems to be two great things happening here. You're seeing what is above and what is below. And the contrast is the darkness. So we know it stretches on. So let's see. Some people made the same kind of observation many years ago. So how everybody puts two and two together is they say, well, this was taken out of course they took it out of the Bible. They took it out of the Bible because the new agenda was to push the globe. And since Enoch was talking about flat earth and religion was extremely important to the government, which at the time was, royalty and religion, the Vatican, the churches, easily seen by noticing that the Pope wore a crown. To be like the king, high authority. That's why there's actually a single crown, a double crown, and a triple crown. The triple crown is the last one that came in, and after that they started donning the Pope hats. Those little party hats, right? So here we have people that are all like, oh yes, it proves it. Well, it proves that we're now looking into what they closed off. So everybody's making these arguments, this is absolutely right. And I keep saying, every culture on Earth that apparently were nowhere near each other believe the same thing. Now, it was in the time that we had ships visiting these other lands that this agenda, because the paradigm wouldn't be correct. This agenda, because it's not real. It's not real. This agenda to push the globe became very apparent. So when you keep going back and taking a look, everything we know is recorded within so many thousand years. And I say to people, like, look into the megaliths. Look into the fact that every religion was saying the same thing. So we say, okay, well, the Bible is 100% correct, and all those other guys are just maybe copying the Bible. Yet every older civilization is out there, and people don't know that Rome, because that old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. Rome was built on the ruins of the megalithic structures. And if you look into the evidence enough, you start seeing that they didn't build the aqueducts. They didn't build any of these things. And there's one notable piece where you see the make sure you see the peaked this concrete stone building has Latin on the front of it, but in older pictures it didn't. You know, these have these really old pictures, and you don't see the writing. And it's like, what the hell? So what happened? You know, who's trying to attribute everything to the Romans? Or, well, who would push that agenda? So, how far back does the Vatican go? Oh, to Constantine, who was a pagan, who seen the things that were going on and people preaching about this. At the same time, we're missing some information as to where the Muslims and Christians are basically the same people. You know, I mean, you got people going all over the place, one place to another, and there's all this stuff happening. He said, she said, and she said, and he said that she said. And everybody talking about religion like everybody knows. Everybody knows 100%, right? I love that. 100%? You know 100%? I know 100%. Oh yeah, it's 100%. Of course. I mean, it isn't 99. It's like that's 100%. One person put up a video, it was 1,000%. Just went way off the chart. I mean, let's bust this thermometer open all together. You know, subject's hot. It was funny because I grew up in a Roman Catholic household, and everybody I knew is Christian. You walk around Newfoundland, and the oldest history of churches is right here. Right here. Right? You go all over North America, America, South America. Right? Newfoundland's civilization of churches and civilization is 500 years old. It is deeply ingrained into the minds of every Newfoundlander of religion. Anybody at least that's my age. You know, most people my age, 40 and whatever and up. You know, church and life is the same thing. Church and life. It's church and life. Just down the road from here, there's the Basilica. Across the street from the Basilica is another church. Across from the street from that is another church. And across the street from that is another church. All these churches are within 2 minutes of each other. Not even. One is right across the street. Right, literally, you cross the street. And there's another church. There's one church on one side, there's one church on the other side. There's more churches here than there is Starbucks in all of the states. Like Newfoundland has more churches than any place I've ever heard of, and they're just all over the place. Anyway, my daughter called me. She's watching a movie. It's pretty cool when she calls me. Yes. So, right back to the point is that if Constantine was a pagan and he unified his people under one religion, and then he got people to write it, to translate it, and we're talking proud conqueror people who didn't want to learn their language, so they wanted to translate it over to their language. Where did they go and get the Hebrew text? Where were the Hebrew people? You know, what are these connections? How are these connections made? They have portions of it in history, but I mean, unfortunately, because of a lot of book burnings done by the Jesuit order, by the Catholic order, by pretty much every church, ideas were destroyed. We see how the globe manifests as an indoctrination. As soon as the TV came about with certain shows, and it's funny because it kept getting brought up, and it seems to me almost like a joke when I was a kid. I was sitting down watching that dinosaur show. I forget the name of it, but that was just one of them. It was in Anne of Green Gables, something like that. These are very popular shows, and yeah, so I mean, I looked in different places. People want to know. They're like, I get sick of watching. I've been doing this since, I don't know if it's when it started or not, around 2014, and I get sick of the videos. Like, it's the same videos over and over again. So I just don't want to watch them no more, and I watch something else. And every now and then I pick up on something, or somebody says something, and I'll just go and take a look. I even did some of my own field work when I went out and I was researching the Masons, and then I picked up on a video of a man, Seventh-day Adventist, talking about the Jesuit order, the Masons, and it was confirmed. The things that he told me were confirmed. 33 is just an honorary title. It's not an actual title. It's like, you know, the the degrees in a black belt. And it's funny how people view that too. Like, things are a lifetime pursuit, and in their order, it doesn't go quite like people say. There's certain things that they do, certain things that they, you know, everybody thinks it's these signals, but the real signals is if I took my other hand and placed it over my stomach, and the other hand over that hand, so my palms were kind of facing each other. That's a symbol. They're in trouble. There's a part in it when you become a high mason, or become a mason, that you have to be blindfolded, and you have to recite a chapter or an oath or whatever, and the oath is that may you be cut or disemboweled. There's another one where, you know, your skull's broke open, and it gets pretty nasty. I can't remember everything off by heart, but the signals are based on those. Like, and there's a phrase to use about the son of a widow needs help, and you raise your hands a certain way. If you look into who they actually view as their god, has to do with Tubal-Cain, something to do with Egypt. I just got sick of it, and I came across this guy who is a Seventh-day Adventist, and he talks these large events, and what he said was extremely profound. And I went out and I did some field work, and I found out that a lot of the things he was saying was pretty accurate, and it was coincidence. Well, not coincidence. It's not that I don't believe in the Bible. I just believe that the writ that is the Bible, is in fact mistranslated to an extent, misquoted in many different areas, and it has been tainted in the sense that somebody applied it to their agenda. And you see it when you read certain parts that come up with add-ons to a rule. The graven images. Pertains to the pagans, to this worship of idols, and how we actually view words. Like, I heard people talking tonight, and they were using very specific words. I turned my thing around because I can't see the screen, so I don't know if I'm still on. I could just be talking to the phone, not knowing. I ran across a lot of information that nobody's looking at because there's no pictures, there's no video, there's just somebody talking, and for hours at a time, and it's all 100% on these subjects, and they're going through evidence. And some of these are high-level Masons, and I know that they are because when I went out to check my information, like, some of the things that they said were verified very well. Not the high order of the Masons, so I can't comment on that, but the low order, where it comes from, that they work from the Book of Solomon. There's a very specific character in the Book of Solomon that was buried on this hill somewhere, and that's what the ritual is based off of. And they do have a specific handshake, but the handshake is based on helping the man up out of the grave. And that's what it's based on, but people are taking it way too far. I mean, you can accidentally do any of these signs. When I was a kid, I used to do that thing with my hand, or like this, and you can't say that this is 666 when you don't even know what 666 is. The Roman numbers, the actual symbol 6 is these symbols are new. Right? The older symbols, what it all comes from, doesn't come from the same place. So people are looking at extremely recent history and giving all this credit and power to factions, splinter cells of the same group. So you have the Vatican, the ones that basically made this happen. They pushed this agenda. Then you have the Queen, who says it's already been proven it's a globe, blah 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 blah. Now, I've seen that video too. It's all a bunch of, one person's nonsense to another person's nonsense to another person's nonsense. And people like these things because it goes along exactly to what they're thinking at the moment. And, right now the pop culture is basically saying that this is what's happening. Look at this, right? And it's like everybody is literally looking into the sun and not seeing anything around. And even if you look away, your eyes is going to take a minute to adjust. And I'm telling you, I was on my way to being a very well-to-do, 100% Christian Bible thumper when I started studying all the stuff from history and the Bible. And the more I studied, the more I looked around, the more it got a little difficult. You can see, if you go to a Catholic church, just go and ask for a Bible, Ask for an actual Bible. Ask them if they have a King James version or any kind of version of a Bible to give you, if they have any of them there. I can't get one at mine. There's this place called the Gathering Place where people go over, and it's run and owned by the nuns from the place that's just off of the Basilica, and it's for people that just want to go there, and people who are suffering from mental illness, people who are just down on their luck. Same as like a soup kitchen, only it's pretty much well open-ended. They don't discriminate on who actually comes. It's meant to bring people together. And just for shits and giggles, I tried over there, and I asked one of the nuns for a Bible, and she says, I don't think that we have any here. And she went and looked anyway. I know that she never went and looked because they don't have any there. I asked a Catholic priest why there isn't any Bibles in the Catholic Church. He said because they're afraid that people will steal them. Like, come on, there's just little things, and I keep poking and prodding in every single direction, and it's like the moment people stop asking questions and start accepting something because it's written on a piece of paper, that's the same thing that they did with the globe. That's the same thing that they did with all these equations and everything like that. They said, well, this is it, right? We know that the sun is 93 million miles away, 98, whatever, 250,000 miles away from the moon, and that we're traveling in this direction, and the Earth is spinning 1,000. Here's a cool idea. If it's based on velocity and mass, the whole gravity thing, equator is 1,000, we go up to 9, to 8, 7, 6. The very, very center top should be 0, shouldn't it? So gravity and things should be different at the poles completely. So there's a place on the North Pole everybody can go to. You can just like jump in it right off the planet. Anyway, I digress. There's a whole bunch of little things that people are not thinking about because a lot of people are coming in, a lot of people are new, and a lot of people are just, really becoming flat earthers, and a lot of people are finding the bravery to do that. They know there's a group there, they're being protected, and people are saying quite a bit that there's proof. There's literally actually no real proof of anything, except for that we know the area that we live in is completely flat. We know that we can't see beyond that, and you do know that buildings and mountains from a far off distance look so extremely small that it's not fit. So if there is anything, any kind of little ripple that you can see in the distance, that's a huge thing. That's a big ass thing. That is a massive object that you're seeing from the distance. If you could see anything, even like a ripple off in the distance, that would be a massive thing. What we don't see is a lensing effect when you go up in the balloon, and you would see a lensing effect where the Earth meets apparently the firmament, which is not directly talked of as dome shaped or anything like that. They talk about the circle of the Earth. What are they talking about? Because they look up and they look around. It could be based off the same assumptions. Who knows? But all these things are literally based off of the exact same thing all over the world. And everybody's 100% that they're right. Just like you know, Adolf Hitler was 100% that the Americans were bad and that these Jewish people apparently are all going to open up Pandora's box, and there's all kinds of propaganda with that. And all the Christians are 100% that, you know, they know God exists because they know that it's a flat earth because they have 100% proof of this, that, and the other thing. So everybody is like talking in these foundational behaviors, but nobody is actually putting together the sectional pieces of Earth, the ruins underwater, the megalithic buildings, structures, and rocks that have been carved and polished. The way you would talk about it, if you didn't know what technology was, and then you look up any description about Noah's Ark, you know, and I've heard talk about some of the descriptions from Noah's Ark and how there was a portal that lit up, that emanated a light. You know, it's just the way things are talked about. I mean, it's the same thing where somebody doesn't know how to explain something, so they give it more of a supernatural form. Now, everything I'm saying pertains to what's on Earth. And what's on Earth. So the translation from that on the spiritual level, where human beings can't comprehend what a creator or creation might not have a distinction, what creation might actually be. We're giving it a human form because somebody, you know, makes a clay pot. So this is why they say that Adam was made like as in clay. You know, how else would you describe it? Something that's familiar for people to understand and comprehend. So he makes man as the same way as a clay pot was made. And then you have people just, you know, taking that literal. Something's being described to you, and it very well could be anything. It could be that it was witnessed. You know, and how do you describe to others something that in that time everything had a description, like water was water. That's it. You know, when you say water, there's an implied thing of that if you're speaking to somebody about water, then you're probably thirsty. They bring you some water. You don't really have to say much. So if you witness something, or if you are the first witness of something, and there's a word for it, and then people get lost to what those words are, then how do you describe it? Then you describe it, it's like blah 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 blah. And that's all I'm saying is, like, if you say that this is what something is, then somehow it means that there's no God and that, you know, science and all that crap. Science is just a Latin word for know, to know. To know, no, scada, something like that. I can't remember. I don't practice it anymore. I stopped giving shit. Like, honestly, sooner or later, you get so caught up in the tornado of all these things that are happening, you kind of start forgetting that if Creator went through all that trouble to make the place, then you better start enjoying it.